It was a cold winter morning when the small-town mechanic shop opened its doors. The sign above read, Miller's Auto Repair, but lately it felt more like Miller's Struggles. Business had been slow for months, and the owner, Jack Miller, worked tirelessly to keep things running. He wasn't just keeping the lights on, he was fighting to give his young son Tommy a better life. Jack stood by the counter, wiping his hands with an old rag. His fingers were stained with grease from years of hard work, but there was something else etched into them: hope. Hope that tomorrow would bring enough customers to pay the bills. Hope that someday he could open his own garage, where people wouldn't have to wait days for their cars to be fixed because they couldn't afford big city prices. But today looked bleak. There hadn't been a single customer since dawn. As if on cue, the bell above the door jingled. A man walked in wearing a long coat and scarf wrapped tightly around his neck. His boots creaked against the tiled floor as he approached the counter. He introduced himself as Mr. Grayson, speaking softly but firmly. "Morning," Mr. Grayson said, his voice calm yet commanding. "I hear you're one of the best mechanics in town." Jack raised an eyebrow. News traveled fast here, but no one ever complimented him directly. "Thanks," he replied cautiously. "What can I do for you?" Grayson placed a leather wallet on the counter. It was thick, filled with what appeared to be cash. Jack's eyes widened slightly, but before he could say anything, the man continued. "I dropped this off earlier today," Mr. Grayson explained. "Found it lying outside your shop. Thought you might want to know." Jack frowned, confused. "Are you sure? I didn't see anything." Before he could finish, Mr. Grayson chuckled. "No worries, just thought I'd mention it. Anyway, I've got a car problem. My truck's engine has been acting up. Can you take a look at it?" Jack nodded eagerly. Any job was welcome these days. As Mr. Grayson led him out back to his truck, Jack noticed how neatly everything about the man seemed put together. The polished shoes, the expensive watch peeking out from under his sleeve. Not exactly the kind of guy who usually came through his shop. Over the next few hours, Jack worked on the truck, diagnosing the issue quickly. By late afternoon, the repairs were done, and Mr. Grayson paid generously. Too generously, actually. When Jack handed him the bill, the man smiled and added extra cash on top. "For good service," Mr. Grayson said simply. Jack thanked him, feeling a weight lift off his shoulders. Maybe this day wouldn't end so poorly after all. Days turned into weeks, and Mr. Grayson became a regular customer. Every time he visited, he brought new challenges for Jack to solve. Each visit also came with another generous payment. Slowly but surely, Jack began to notice changes in his finances. He could finally buy groceries without worrying about cutting corners. He even treated Tommy to a movie night once, a rare luxury they hadn't indulged in for ages. One evening, while working late, Jack overheard Mr. Grayson talking on the phone nearby. The conversation was muffled, but one sentence caught his attention. "Yes, I think he's ready." Ready for what? Jack wondered, but he shrugged it off, assuming it had nothing to do with him. Later that week, Mr. Grayson showed up again, this time with an unusual request. "Jack," he began, leaning casually against the counter, "how would you feel about joining my team full-time?" Jack froze mid-wrench turn. "Your team?" "Yes," Mr. Grayson confirmed. "I run a chain of auto repair shops across several states. I've been watching your skills closely, and I believe you'd make a great addition to our crew." For a moment, Jack couldn't speak. This was the opportunity he'd dreamed of, a chance to leave behind the uncertainty of running his own struggling business. Yet, part of him hesitated. What about Tommy? What about the dream of opening his own garage? "I'll need some time to think about it," Jack finally managed. Mr. Grayson nodded understandingly. "Take all the time you need." That night, as Jack lay awake in bed, his mind raced. Joining Mr. Grayson's company meant stability, security, and maybe even a shot at climbing the ladder. But leaving Miller's Auto Repair behind felt like abandoning a piece of himself. The next morning, as Jack prepared to head to the shop, Tommy tugged at his sleeve. "Dad, why are you always so tired?" the boy asked innocently. Jack knelt down, looking his son in the eye. "Because I'm trying to give us a better future, buddy. One where we don't have to worry about money or anything else." Tommy tilted his head. "Do you think we'll ever get our own garage?" Jack froze. That question struck a chord deep within him. For weeks, he'd avoided thinking about it, focusing instead on surviving day to day. Now, hearing those words from his son reignited the fire inside him. "I hope so," Jack whispered. "Someday." A week later, Mr. Grayson arrived unexpectedly during closing hours. He carried a large envelope and wore a smile that seemed almost mischievous. "Jack," he said, pulling out a chair, "there's something I need to tell you." Jack set down his tools, sensing the seriousness in the man's tone. "What is it?" Mr. Grayson took a deep breath. "First, let me say thank you for being honest, hardworking, and trustworthy. You passed my test." "My test?" Jack echoed, bewildered. "Yes," Mr. Grayson admitted. "That wallet I left behind weeks ago, it was mine. I wanted to see if you'd return it, and you did without hesitation." Jack stared at him, stunned. All this time, he'd thought Mr. Grayson was just another wealthy client. Instead, he'd been testing him, observing him. "But there's more," Mr. Grayson continued. "When I heard you talking about your dream to open your own garage, I knew I had to help. So here's what I propose. I'll invest in your project. With my funding and connections, you can launch your very own business." Silence hung heavy between them as Jack processed the offer. Tears pricked at the corners of his eyes. "You'd really do that for me?" "Absolutely," Mr. Grayson replied, "because everyone deserves a second chance. Everyone deserves to chase their dreams." 6 months later, Miller's Auto Repair reopened, not as a struggling shop, but as a thriving enterprise. Customers flocked to the newly renovated space, drawn by Jack's reputation and dedication. Behind the scenes, Mr. Grayson remained a silent partner, offering guidance whenever needed. One day, as Jack stood in the bustling garage, watching his team work efficiently, he realized something profound. Life isn't about waiting for opportunities to come knocking. Sometimes it's about creating them yourself and trusting others along the way. And perhaps, just perhaps, every struggle serves a purpose. Every hardship shapes us into the person we're meant to become. "Thank you," Jack murmured to himself, gazing at the bustling shop, "for believing in me when I couldn't believe in myself." In that moment, surrounded by the hum of engines and the laughter of his employees, Jack understood the true meaning of triumph. Not just financial success, but personal growth, resilience, and the courage to dream again. That's the story, friends. I hope you enjoyed it. It was a pleasure sharing it with you all. Don't forget to comment below and let me know where you're watching from. It's always fun to see the global reach of these stories. And if you haven't already, please hit that subscribe button for more amazing stories, tips, and tricks. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye. If you'd like to show some extra love, tap the 3 dots near the share button and send a super thanks.